Amir, you don't have a presentation, right? You're just going to shoot. Okay, cool.
Hello, everyone. Can you hear me fine? Okay, I have a question before I begin, just so I know who I'm speaking to. How many people here already have a working business? Just raising your hand. Okay. And how many people here have an idea for a startup? Raise your hand high. Okay. Okay. How many here have sales in their business? Sales. Sales. Yes. No. Incoming revenues. Okay. So a few. I want to share with you some of what I've learned through the years, and focus on one specific thing. And in fact, I'll repeat some of what you've just heard. I'll tell you a bit of my story, which started. I didn't have any business background, and in '99 I founded a company with 3 other partners. And the company was MediaMind. We had a different name most of the years, which was EyeBlaster. And I was with MediaMind since '99 until 2005. And since then, in 2010, the company went public. And in 2011, it was sold. It was a very large acquisition in terms of at least Israeli high-tech companies. And when I was there in the about 5.5 years, when I was there, we raised initial funding, and then we raised venture capital in the US, and then the company raised another round of financing, overall $40 million before going public. When I left the company in 2005, we were about 80 employees. We had revenues of just over $12 million, and we were already very profitable. And when it was sold in 2011 for $517 million, which was just a bit more than $500 million, the revenues were about $100 million yearly revenues, with I think around 40 offices around the world. So it was a very big success, and I learned a lot. And since 2005 or 2006. I started my own business in Israel in consulting, first initially to startups and then to small businesses. And today I'm totally focused on small businesses, which is a completely different world. But some things do not change, and I want to focus on one specific thing to share with you. I would say it's one very simple truth that everyone knows, that you should know about business. And I think if you learn that and you learn the implications, then you will be very, very successful. Now, I could very easily state this simple truth, but it would sound very, very simple to you, and it wouldn't mean anything. You would say, of course we know this. And so I will get to it by illustrating, by short story. And I think this story is very important. And then I will tell you what this simple, very, very simple truth is, which is, I think, one of the greatest secrets to succeeding in business is understanding the implications of that simple truth. The story goes like this. From our early years in MediaMind, it says here I'm from MediaMind, but I was never at MediaMind. When I was at MediaMind, it was always EyeBlaster, but I am a founder of MediaMind. And in the early stages, we developed, by the way, how many people here are in technology? Okay, so I'm assuming almost everyone, or maybe everyone. So we developed a technology. At the time, there was the leading browser was Internet Explorer, and which is almost extinct now, but this was the leading browser, and version 4 came out, and the whole generation 4 browsers came out, and they had this very, very unique ability to display these layers on top of web pages. You could display something on that layer, And eventually, we developed a product where ad companies can use that to display ads that just float on top on the screen. And today, they are known as these annoying ads. This is the common name for these ads, or annoying pop-ups. And yes, so it's my fault. And we learned a lot from that. But and I'll tell you, when we started, it was only simple banners, only simple banners, and no one knew how to do this. And even when the technology came out, publishers, which is the industry term for websites who publish content, they are called publishers, but websites who get the revenues from advertising, they would just display banners. And if they wanted to be innovative, suddenly this technology could allow them to be innovative. Sorry. And we had, our first idea was to go to, or one of our first ideas was to go to e-commerce websites and tell them, look, you can display all kinds of sales. You could, if you go through a mall, you have all these announcements going on. You could advertise using the visual aspects of this floating layer, and you could announce things using audio and so on. And we suggested this, and we met with e-commerce websites, and they thought the idea was great, but one thing didn't happen. No one wanted to purchase this. They didn't want to pay us anything. They didn't want to buy. Does anyone have an idea why? Why they didn't want to buy? It was a great product. It looked great. It advertised their products. It could enhance sales. Does it? No. We were okay. We had an okay sales team. It was too complicated. No, we made it very, very simple. But I'll tell you this. To this day, I can't say I have a very good idea of why they didn't. But the most important fact is that they didn't. They simply were very, very, it was very, very obvious that they didn't want to pay us money for this. And in the end, we decided that we were going to change to the advertising space. And we went to publishers, which are these websites, and we told them, look, today you are selling banners for really very small amounts of money. I don't know, it was already beginning to be below $1 CPM, which is the price you pay for 1,000 displays. And we said, look, you could have this great innovative format that you could sell to advertisers, you could sell to ad companies, and you could sell it for a lot more money because it's intrusive. And intrusive is a good word in advertising, and especially in space advertising, intrusive is good. And someone told us, wow, this is intrusive, it was like a compliment. So we told these websites, you can be very intrusive, and we built all these kinds of demos for them that they could actually take to advertisers. And they were very, very excited. And they said, yes, we are on board, we're going to sell this. We agreed on what price they would pay us, which was very, very high. And they said, we're really going to take and make it happen. And nothing happened. Do you have an idea why? Nothing happened. Sales did not happen. And they were very excited about the product. The pricing was great. They would love to sell this. And in fact, I can say it's great because eventually it got sold using these prices. Okay? So eventually it worked. But it didn't work then. I don't expect that you should... it was, yeah, after the crash, but that wasn't the reason. No, it was very strong. Online marketing was strong, and people were spending money, and advertisers were buying and everything. I'll tell you why. I wasn't expecting that you'd guess it, but we found out that it seems that there are salespeople who are going to sell this. It was too difficult for them to sell. And usually salespeople sell what's easiest to sell. This is something that you should know. If you are going to hire salespeople, they're going to sell what's easiest. And that wasn't easy to sell. So they just didn't sell. They had it, they loved it, but when they came and met with advertisers. They said, okay, we'll sell you banners, because this is what they knew, and we had a problem. Now, so next we said, okay, who should we turn to? Because they were showing interest. And by the way, money starts running out when you go through this. You need to make things happen. You need to get revenues going into the company. So we went to the ad agencies, and we started showing this to the ad agencies. And then the ad agencies, they were very excited. They were very excited, and they said, yes, we want to buy. And they had money to spend, and they said, okay, we want you to go to this website and this website and this website, and we want to buy. And many times, these websites, the websites had to agree to display these intrusive ads. And they wanted to buy MSN, they wanted to buy Yahoo, they wanted to buy AOL, which were the three big portals back then, who all said, no, we're not going to accept that technology. It's too intrusive. No one else is using it. But still, they managed to start convincing websites to use this. And it took us a while, and more websites started using this, and sales were made. Now, the question here is, why did they say yes to us? And why did it happen then? And I can tell you that we didn't know the answer for a while. And I'll get to the answer in a second, which is very, very interesting. Why would an ad agency get excited about using this type of ad? Does anyone have an idea? Because what? You have an advantage over other ad agencies? Okay, that's part of the reason. It's part of the reason. Sorry? We had high CTRs, but that's they don't really care about CTRs. We went CTRs, click-through rate. We went to companies who are brands. They wanted to be seen. This was most important. They were so. It was new real estate, but they get offered tons of new real estate for all kinds of things. So, but they did want to be different than other ad agencies, which is true. And we first realized that their reason to buy is actually, when you get to know the advertising space, you find out that advertisers switch ad agencies all the time. They spend their money, and then they switch, and then they switch, and then they switch. And retaining a customer is very hard, and they had to show something new. And we figured out that they had to show something new to their clients. So it was not, it's part of the answer. It was not because the ads were efficient. It was not because it worked. It was just because they could present something new to their clients. Now, they made this work, and publishers started being against us because it was very intrusive, and even though they got the better pricing, they were against it, but they had to agree. Why did they have to agree? Well, one thing you could take from this is that you need to figure out where the money is coming from, because this is what sets the rules. The money came from ad agencies, and because the money comes from there, they have the power. And even, I remember opening account number 137, which was our Yahoo account. I remember getting the email, greetings from Yahoo, from the tech person over there asking us to try the product, because they got so many requests from ad agencies to make this work on Yahoo. And Yahoo became a very, very big client. So, but the biggest realization came to us later, when we figured out why they really wanted to use this. And they really wanted to use this because of something, and whoever knows the ad agency world would immediately recognize this. They really, really wanted this because these ads win awards. And ad agencies love winning awards. And they knew that they could win all kinds of awards. And part of the way that you keep clients and you get new clients and you prevent clients from switching is you win many awards. This is why when you go into an ad agency, the first thing you see, and in New York there are many of those, and we were based in New York, and you see all these awards. And after we saw all these awards, we decided that we were going to create the EyeBlaster Awards. And we had, and we gave them awards for all kinds of categories because we knew they loved awards. So they kept continuing, generating all these great ads, very intrusive ads. We came up with all kinds of formats and banners, rolling banners and all kinds, and then later video and so on. But we figured out that the real reason is that they want to win awards and that they want to retain customers. Not because the ad was doing such a great job. Now my big lesson from this story. The big lesson from this story, which is obvious to anyone, but you don't really realize it until you go through all these phases, is that customers buy for their reasons, and not your reasons. People buy for their own reasons. And believe me when I say this to you, you have some notion on what the reason should be, why people should buy your product. It is probably wrong. It is probably wrong. Especially, not many people raised their hands that they were doing actual sales. If you have not made sales, probably what you're thinking that your client wants is wrong. The only time that you know that you did something right is when what happens? When somebody pays you real money. And this is very important to understand. I recommend you look up a TED video. Go to TED or open the application now if you want to, but later is better. And look for Malcolm Gladwell. And he has Malcolm Gladwell is very well-known author, and he has this wonderful short talk which is called Choice, Happiness, and Spaghetti Sauce. Choice, Happiness, and Spaghetti Sauce. About how people tested which spaghetti sauce people wanted to use. And it's fascinating what they found there. And it really makes the point that people buy for their own reasons, which you have no idea exist, and many times they do not understand this. I'm sure no one in the agency world would tell us that they were using our product because it can win them awards. No one would say this, even if they knew it. But many people who were our clients didn't even know that. We knew that, but they didn't. But we looked at how they act, what they do. And you want to look at what they do. Now, so people buy for their own reasons. Now, how can we use this realization? You can say, well, it makes sense, and I told you, if I just started my short talk and saying, well, listen, people buy for their own reasons, and good luck, you would have very little that you could do with this. But I'll tell you a few things that can be learned from it, and which are not obvious. First is you need to know them very well. This is why you must live next to them. And you just heard that the right thing to do is now to move to New York, and probably it was the right thing to do much earlier. And it's very true. And one of the first things we did is move to New York before we had any clients. And we were 4 partners, 2 of us, which was myself and Gal, who later became CEO of the company up until the day it was sold, and then later. And now he spends a lot of time in Hawaii. But he always said, I said I'm moving, and I moved. And he saw that I didn't know what I was doing, and he always said, I don't want to live in New York, but I'm going for 2 weeks to help Amir. And then he went back to Israel. And then he said, I have to go 2 weeks more to help Amir. And then he came for 1 month, and then another month, and then he said, I'm staying, and he hated it. But he was a great salesperson, a great CEO, and he understood that he has to live where the clients are. And the internet is very misleading. You think that you can use Skype, and you think that you can use email, and you think that you can browse websites, and you think all of that. You know nothing until you meet customers, until you meet clients, until you meet the actual people The real information is in these little details that you find out when you are there. I have a client who has, right now in my consulting business, I have a client who works in Africa. He does business in Africa, in one of the countries in Africa. And they're starting to work with another state over there. And it's been my ongoing thing in the last few months, just telling him, you have to move. You have to be there. And he's flying back and forth to Africa, fly back and forth, but over there. And I've been saying this a lot of times, and many people just refuse, because it's much easier to stay in Israel and to do things in remote control. My experience says it's impossible. It's impossible. There is no way you would understand what your clients really want and what their reasons are. The second thing is that there is only one person who can cast a vote what you should do in your business. And this person is called a paying customer. The only opinion that counts is when someone tells you, yes, I'm willing to pay. Now, what should be deduced from this is that you have to give people a chance to pay you as early as you can. And you've heard this here, I'm just saying it again. Waiting until your product is 100% complete, that's the wrong thing to do. You want to have it as complete as possible, and it should look ugly, and it should have a lot of bugs, but someone has to be found who is willing to pay you money. If you can't find someone who is willing to pay you money, because we are entrepreneurs, we are used to telling ourselves all kinds of stories. And the story you're going to tell yourself when someone doesn't want to pay you money is that it's because your product is not yet complete. That's not true. It's because your product is not good for that client. It's because it needs to change. This is the real reason if someone doesn't want to give you money. There is a very important book that everyone, I think, should read who is in the technology space and also other spaces. It's called Crossing the Chasm. Crossing the Chasm. Okay? Chasm is C-H-A-S-M. Crossing the Chasm. And it really outlines how tech companies get to the large markets by first finding these people who are just so in love with their product, who are willing to use it and pay for it, even though it has a lot of bugs, it doesn't work, it doesn't look great, and still they want to use it. I'm sure that I don't know Wibbits and their customers, but I'm sure their first paying clients are those clients who are using the most buggy version of Wibbits. I am assuming, without knowing this. But if you continue trying to get it right, you will never get it right. The last thing I'll tell you, by the way, clients in Israel mean nothing. Getting money from someone in Israel, if your market is the US, means nothing. One good thing that we did is that we didn't sell in Israel. We sold in Israel years after we were in New York and in all of the United States and in Europe and in Japan and in South America. And I think Israel was probably last on our list because it means nothing. It's not a reference. It cannot be referred. You have to be where the market is. And I think also the opportunity that was presented to you here makes a lot of sense, because being in New York and in great, just in a great environment, ready to fly anywhere or even drive to places which are nearby, where you actually can hear the market and hear and figure out what the real reasons are to buy your product, which is the idea. Yes, I'm finishing. This is what you want to do. Last thing, for those who are starting, don't be secretive. People don't want to say, this is my idea. I'm now working on a new company, a new startup. And I'm returning to the technology space with something that I think will be very big. And I'm spending all of my time now telling people about it, people who I respect. I want their opinion. And the idea has evolved so much just because I'm talking to them. And I know I will be talking to potential customers as soon as I can because I want to hear people who are going to be spending their money. And it's very easy to do when you're beginning because you're not trying to sell them, but you're telling them, look, I'm going to return a year from today and ask for your money. What would you tell me then? And they will be very honest because it's like you're asking them for money, but you're not really trying to sell them, so they will give you their honest opinion. So this is my suggestion, and it all revolves about the main pivot of what you are doing, which is the market and your customer, and not you. And not you. We all think like people in the past who thought the earth was at the center and the sun revolves around it and the stars revolve around it, and this properly describes an entrepreneur. So it's not about you, it's not about me, it's only about them, and whatever you can do to get close and talk to them and offer them to pay you for your stuff, this is the path to success. Thanks.